Louis Rossman is crazy, man. Why would you title a video like this? Netflix puts AI ads in paid tier. That's garbage. Hate that. Pirate everything at this point, he says. I mean, I don't disagree. But what is this about Netflix putting AI ads in paid tier? Excuse me? And there shouldn't be any ads in paid tier? Whatever. Let's see what he's got to say.
Welcome to today's episode of Pirating is Always Better Than Paying for It. I'm your host, Louis Rossman. Usually I talk about how there are less limitations on content when you pirate it and also how it's better quality. With Netflix, I was talking about how I could pay for their top-of-the-line 4K plan and still get stuck with a 720p 1 megabit per second stream because apparently my computer was not fit to the requirements to be able to play it. I had a Threadripper 2950X, I had an RTX 2080 graphics card, a 32 gigabytes of RAM, and they were serving me a 720p 1 megabit per second stream. However, a Celeron Intel NUC that cost less than $300 back in 2018.
I'm gonna give you a really good example of something that's just completely garbage from these streaming services. There was like 7 people in my house. We just wanted to have Netflix for the house, you know? But it kicked us off. We were only allowed to do like 3 or 4 people at a time. We had the full package, like paid for the full thing. And it was kicking people off. Why? And I get it, like when you had cable, you had to pay for the individual rooms. Sure, but we don't do that anymore. Things are better. We are able to have one account for a household where you can watch on 7 different devices. We could have that. The only reason we don't is so that corporations can make more money, right? Even fine still. If that was the only way you could watch movies, fine. Or you can just have a home server and everybody can access it. And they can access it from other houses for free. Everything's free. It's a better service, man. That's the problem. It's not a piracy issue. It's a service issue.
That's attached to my television over there is able to play a 4K high bitrate 80 gigabyte Blu-ray. Piracy always wins. Now, when I talk about this, I'm usually talking about convenience and I'm talking about the quality of what you're getting. But here, even when it comes to privacy, you're getting a better experience when it comes to piracy. And you can't find any better example of that than in Netflix bragging about how they're going to be putting generative AI ads into their lowest price tier. So back when Netflix started the streaming options, if you think about like the 2010s, it actually cost less money to subscribe to Netflix back then and not have ads than it does to subscribe to Netflix now on their lower tier plan that has ads in it. If you scroll down, they're talking about putting generative AI ads into the content. Netflix debuted a new modular framework for ad formats that leverages generative AI to instantly marry advertisers' ads with the world of our shows. This will create a better, more relevant experience for our members and drive the best results. This means you get the added overlays, calls to action, second screen buttons, and more to serve the right ad to the right member at the right time.
Yeah, they're using ads to figure out how to better manipulate you into buying things.
You know who the right person is to serve the ad to? Not the person who's paying to watch, because they're going to decide they're going to pirate. This is not the part that I'm the most interested in. What I cared about when I read this is what they were bragging about. The head of advertising says, when you compare us to our competitors, attention starts much higher and ends much higher.
Here's the problem that I have with this whole thing. What's even worth pirating from Netflix? I can't think of anything that I want that's on Netflix.
And even more impressive, members pay as much attention to the mid-roll ads as they do to the shows and movies themselves, she said. To the first part, just being sassy. Why are you bragging about the fact that your content sucks so much that people are paying as little attention to the content as they do to the ads? If people are paying as little attention to my content as they do Linus when he talks about Raycons or some shit, like, I feel some type of way about that. I don't like that. That's fucked up. People should not be paying as much attention to me as they do the fucking ad. I hope not. I'm doing something very, very wrong if you did not watch AdBlock and there's some sort of advertisement for some sort of new fucking shitty Gillette product and you're paying as much attention to that as you are my video. If you are, I suck. Well, don't brag about that. More importantly, would you like to share your work with the class? Like, how did you come to this conclusion? How do you know when I'm paying attention to the ad? How do you know whether or not I'm paying a lot of attention to the TV show or not?
Because they moved the statistics around and omitted things and put things in that would help them reach that conclusion. That's how they always do it. That's how they do it for every corporation. They make the numbers fit the narrative.
What information are you using for that? Because when I download a television show, if I were to use something like a eMule or SoulSeek or Usenet or an IRC DDC bot or any BitTorrent or anything else, they have no fucking clue what part of the movie I'm paying attention to because they don't understand it, which is one of the many areas where piracy continues to be paying for it. Piracy doesn't just beat it on convenience. Piracy doesn't just win on freedom. Piracy doesn't just win on actual quality. It also wins on privacy as well. Privacy is what's being violated when you use these types of services.
Yeah, and I don't have to send any data to anybody about myself and my home and my IP address and all that.
For the head of advertising to come out and actually brag that they know exactly what level of attention I'm providing to the advertisement versus the program, they got to be collecting some good data on that. And they're collecting that not just from people who don't pay, they're collecting it from people who pay. That's fucked up. I don't like that. If you read through the privacy policy, there's a number of different ways you can ascertain that they're doing this. There's a number of different things in this privacy policy that would lead me to believe that they're able to make this type of determination. So firstly, we collect information about your interaction with the Netflix service, like playback events, play, pause, etc., so they could be building an attention model based on when I pause, rewind, or stop content, particularly during an advertisement. We collect information about the ads on the Netflix service that you view or interact with, so Netflix can watch if I'm clicking or hovering or interacting with an ad to gauge whether or not I'm paying attention to it or not, and likely storing it somewhere in a database along with my name. Other information about your use, such as app clicks, text input, page views, time and duration of access, so they can track where I'm moving my trackball, what I type, or how long I'm dwelling on a particular button, whether it's to skip an ad or to browse. We collect device and software characteristics, such as type and configuration and device IDs for your network devices. On some devices, like a phone or a TV or a tablet, they could access a motion light sensor. So when you give it permissions via the QR code scanner to have access to your camera, that can also give it access to the ambient light sensor. And there are some people that have actually used this to profile what room you're in your house and at what time in the day you're in that room in your house, who's around you, just based on the ambient light sensor. There's a lot of data that you get from that little proximity sensor, ambient light sensor thing at the top of the phone that can tell where to set the brightness based on where you are.
Have you ever seen that video of a guy using it's like an infrared sensor or something out in the woods, and a guy's got a cell phone and it's just like projecting lights all over the place constantly, just like like lights? You should check that out, because that's insane. They're just tracking you. They're tracking you using those lights that you can't see.
It's freaky. Advertising companies may provide us your likely interest they have collected or inferred based on your activities online. So Netflix could be buying attention data and behavior data from other brokers in order to compare it to how it is I'm using their service to get a better understanding of me. We collect your viewing and gaming history, search queries, and other information about your use. And again, this is probably tied to my name and likeness because you need my real name in order to sign up for an account. Are you paying for content, or are you paying to be a little lab rat in a clean room experiment? When I say clean room, I actually do mean it. That word is starting to piss me off for a lot more reasons than just DriveSavers using it to rip people off on $3,000 iPhone charge port replacement. Netflix also opened third-party data access to trusted partners like Experian and Axiom and announced their own clean room strategy. No, man, no. I'm not paying for this shit. Fuck you.
What does that mean, clean room strategy? What? Hold up. A clean room strategy can refer to different contexts, including software engineering and cybersecurity. And software engineering and clean room approach is used to develop high quality, reliable software by focusing on defect prevention rather than removal. This method involves formal methods, statistical quality control, and rigorous testing to ensure each increment of the software meets pre-established standards. In cybersecurity, a clean room strategy involves creating a secure, isolated environment for forensic investigations and incident response. So what they're doing is I think what that means is they're doing like individual testing on people. Like they'll do new, weird, crazy things on like one person or a small group and see what happens to them before they roll it out on everybody. So yeah, lab rats. That's legit what they're doing.
Here's the thing. There's a lot of different ways that I can make money as a YouTuber, as somebody with 2 million subscribers. My incentive structure is not aligned with yours. My incentive structure is to get you to be okay viewing content using the proper platform, using the proper app, and not using anything else. I'm supposed to get you to only view content using their little DRM down box. I'm supposed to get you to turn your ad blocker off. I'm supposed to get you to feel okay paying for all this shit, because that means you're more likely to click on some sponsored link or crap that I provide you, and you're more likely to watch my content viewing ads so that I get more money. If you want to obtain your privacy, there is a great way to do it. pirate everything. Find a good VPN. There's almost an inverse correlation between the amount of money that VPN providers spends on influencer marketing and how good it actually is. The ones that you will never see in a YouTube video are the ones that are usually the best. I enjoy watching Black Mirror, and the reason that I paid extra money for Netflix back then is because I wanted to watch Black Mirror in 4K. But I fucking couldn't. I got a 720p stream at 1 megabit per second. You know when I didn't get a 1 megabit per second 720p stream? When I pirated it. That's when I get full quality. And Black Mirror did a great episode on this whole concept. If you take a look at Black Mirror Season 7, Episode 1, show yourself. I know you're there. I watched Season 7, Episode 1. I know people from Black Mirror watch this channel. There's no way in hell there's not somebody on that writing staff or a nephew of somebody that writes that show that watches this channel. But I digress. That entire show, I'm not going to spoil the whole thing, but the idea that this is the tier that you were paying for, and then this tier winds up getting ads and other shit and going away, and if you want what you had before, you got to pay this much. But, we can kick you back down to this tier since the tier that you have no longer exists, and this tier is filled with ads.
I think I need to watch that episode. I haven't seen that episode. I think I've only seen like the first 4 seasons. That's crazy. I might watch it right after this.
And now you have generative AI ads. Watch Season 7, Episode 1 of Black Mirror. Tell me that's not the world that we're living in. Tell me that's not the world that Netflix themselves are not moving towards. If you want to preserve your privacy... Wow, that was a Freudian slip if I ever heard it. I'm not editing that out. If you want to preserve your privacy, piracy. Or when you buy media, buy physical media, buy it used, go on eBay or something, go on a used marketplace. This way, at the very least, the people that are behind all this garbage are not...
I have moved toward I'm going to start ripping content. I'm going to start buying physical media, getting like a VHS tape and a VCR and just plugging it into my computer and just recording it right off of there. And then I don't ever have to worry about like degradation of the physical media because I'll always have it. I'm gonna start doing that. I already have a bunch of the equipment. I've done it before. I just quit because it's a lot of work. But I'm getting to the point where it's gonna be less work and cheaper to do it that way than to just get a streaming service and hope that it doesn't go up in price in the next few months or like knock me down a tier.
Making direct money off of you when you do it. Buy the physical media. Put it in your library. Make sure you get yourself a nice, good old-fashioned Pioneer with 10-year-old firmware on it that allows you to rip it in 4K, so you have a copy of it. Put that physical media into a device that does not connect to the internet, and watch it that way.
Here's a problem with physical media moving forward also. A lot of it, like Blu-rays, have to be updated. And there are some that you just can't watch because they can't be updated. It's crazy.
Because this is bullshit. I hate this. I really do. I like Black Mirror. It's an awesome show. I could not watch Black Mirror, watch Black Mirror, and get spied on, or pirate Black Mirror. Probably pirate Black Mirror. It's the best solution. It gives me the best quality, it gives me the most privacy, and the most entertainment.
And the most convenience. You can watch it if your internet goes out, or if your power goes out, if you've got it on your phone, or if you have a server backed up. You can move it around between devices. You have an infinite amount of devices that you can watch it on. Not just like the 2 devices that are on at the same time. You can have as many devices on at the same time. You can let your friend borrow it.
I want to pay for it, but you make it harder and harder every single day. The fact that you could come out here and fucking brag about the fact that you know what I'm paying attention to, and then literally talk about how you're making your own little fucking clean room box for me and my data to give away for other people. Like, no, fuck you. I don't want to pay $11 a month to be part of some clean room fucking experiment. Fuck you. No. It's not interested in it. I make more money by getting you to be okay with this type of shit-ass experience. Not directly, but in a roundabout way. If I get you to be okay with this and only use the official app and all this other stuff and don't use your ad blocker.
I know the only way we're gonna get around this. The only way it's gonna be good. The only way, I say we, I'm talking about the entertainment industry, really, and like the streaming industry. If you don't start selling DRM-free files, you're gonna get pirated out. We need a GOG, a good old games for movies. We need a good old movies.
The amount of money that I leave on the table with this, pushing back against this stuff is way more important. I'm happy I stopped paying Netflix 2 years ago. Fuck Netflix. And fuck you in the ass for thinking it's okay to have 4K be all up in here like it's the best possible plan, and oh look, 4K plus HDR, and then saying it's subject to my internet service and device capability, not making obvious that even if I have a fucking RTX 2080 and a 2950X CPU with goddamn 30,000 CPU benchmark score, that you're going to deliver me a 1 megabit per second 720p stream because I don't use a platform that's filled with your fucking spyware and DRM. Nah, we ain't doing that. There's people out there that are saying, well, this is happening because they're not making enough money. Bullshit. This is a totally...
Record profits year over year for pretty much every corporation, and people say the same thing. No. Miss me with that, bro.
sustainable business model. Completely sustainable. If you even going back to 2019, net income, 1.8 billion, 2.7 billion, 5.1 billion. 2022, 4.3 billion, 5.4 billion, 9.2 billion. They're doing fine. This isn't like Uber or WeWork where you have a business model that is completely unsustainable and the only way that you're ever going to make money is if you start massively screwing people. You're fine. You don't need AI ads. You're good. You're good. You don't need to track every fucking thing that I do and keep, like, no, just no. You're good. You don't have to associate my name in a fucking database with every single...
It's like we've gone too far. They can't help but to become dystopian. It's like there's something in the air that just is pushing us toward cyberpunk.
Single thing I've watched, when I've watched it, when I hit play, pause, the light in my room, or whatever the fuck else you guys are keeping track of. I ain't interested in that, man. And you guys shouldn't be either. If you have a television like this, if you have a TV that has an option on it called do not sell my personal information and it is turned off by default, it is your obligation and duty to never connect that shit to the internet when your family is in your home. This shit ain't gonna change unless people decide that they're not gonna stand and put up with it anymore. If this is any indication, people are putting up with it. Stop.
Yeah, they're robots. That's why they're putting up with it. They do not care. They just pay for it, they watch, they go to work, come home, eat, watch, go to work, come home, eat, and then die. That's all they know.
I can already see ahead into what the comments in this video will be. This man is just angry. He milks anger for views so he can make more money off of ad revenue, ignoring the fact that in all of the videos I've done on YouTube for the past like 10 years, I've been...
You're a grifter, Rossman.
Telling you guys to install an ad blocker over and over and over again. I even have a 900-page freaking manual on how to get rid of ads in every aspect of your life. Let's put aside all the disdain that you may have for me. How does any of this benefit you? I think that it sucks that a company that was already making $1 or $4 billion has decided we want to make $18 billion. Let's shove ads into the tier that used to not have ads, and now let's shove ads that are AI generated into this tier, meaning that there is a greater demand for our customers' personal data.
Yeah, they gotta keep making more and more money for the investors. Always, all the time. But when they start making $18 billion, they're gonna be like, well, now we have to make $50 billion. And then they get there and they're like, well, how are we gonna make $100 billion?
How does it benefit you for every single thing that you watch, every click you make, every breath you take to be stored in a database of a publicly traded company that's using that information to figure out how to more creatively separate you from your money by virtue of providing you with more invasive and intrusive ads that are designed to figure out exactly what makes you tick so that they could figure out how to rob you blind? How does it benefit you? You're allowed to hate me. You don't gotta like me. It's fine. A lot of people hate me. It's cool. It feeds me. If you hate my video, before you run to say, I love what Netflix is doing, I think...
Well, they haven't watched this far through the video, I don't think, unless they're like making content on it. I think they got maybe first 5 seconds were like, nope, Louis Rossman, you're an idiot. Comment, you're ugly.
I think this is great. Serve me more ads, take more of my data. Two things can be true at the same time. You can hate me and everything I stand for and simultaneously realize that in this one small area, we're actually on the same side. You're a consumer. I'm a consumer. You're probably not a giant Netflix shareholder. And even if you are a Netflix shareholder, your share interest in Netflix is likely not correlated properly to your interest in your own ownership stake, your time, your mental health, and your privacy. Somebody said that they were going to send me a 3D printed pirate chip for my koi pond. I have to make sure that if I allow any of those into the koi pond, it has to be the type of pirate chip that is not going to mess with the water. Can't be any materials that are going to, give off any crap into the water, but I'd like to do that. I would like to have a little pirate ship that goes around my koi pond. Look at the fishy. That's a good little fishy.
Yeah, I'd never see myself paying for a streaming service ever again because it's just not as good. To sail the seven seas, or the high seas, I say the seven seas. To sail the high seas, it's just not as good. It's way better. For all of the reasons that he said, plus more. And that's just probably what I'm going to go ahead and do in the future until we start getting DRM-free files like good old games. I want good old movies to happen, good old shows, good old music, you know? That's all I got. Buy a t-shirt down there in the description. I'm out.